Good morning, everyone. How are we all doing today? Thank you all for joining us here at the East Cleveland Public Library. Before we get started, just a few housekeeping rules. No eating or drinking in here, okay? Secondly, before we get started, I'd like to send our thoughts and prayers to the Tuskegee Valley School District, whom lost 3 students, 2 student parents, and a teacher yesterday on a school bus crash. Did everyone enjoy your lunch? Don't forget that you have bingo cards to fill out. I believe that there will be a prize for that. There's also a photo booth in the Llewellyn room, a gallery in the hallway if you haven't gotten a chance to see the pictures, as well as a class today at 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock, from 3 to 4, that will follow the Fireside chat. I'd like to welcome the celebration of learners, and thank you for coming to the East Cleveland Public Library. First, we will have introductory remarks by our Executive Director, Mr. Carlos Latimer.
Good afternoon. I didn't realize what a big deal this event is, but it's a really big deal. So amazing audience, thank you for being here. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, welcome to the East Cleveland Public Library. Again, I'm Mr. Latimer, the Library Director, and we are governed by 7 board members. And if you're here, please stand. Carol Shahid, President. O. Mays, Vice President. Sheila Hunt Sharpley, Secretary. Dr. Mary Ann Harris. Dr. Joy Jordan. Taisha Blade. And Nathan Page. We also would like to welcome CleveNet directors and other community stakeholders. We have Casey Armstrong from Euclid Public Library. Casey's. Euclid is our partner. Mary Davis Fournier, Public Library Executive Director, she is here. What a surprise. She's here. So we are honored and grateful to receive the grant funds and to be the host of this digital literacy celebration. I would like to acknowledge, as part of today's program, AT&T, Public Library Association, East Cleveland Public Library, Northeast Ohio Alliance for Hope, East Cleveland City School District, and our performer today, Edward Aziz. Thank you to Liz Renee from PLA and Sarah Green from East Cleveland Public Library for working together to coordinate this event. And also I'd like to recognize, in regards to the technology and digital literacy we provide, the library's tech team, Teresa Flood, our Deputy Director, Sarah Green, our IT Network Manager. How many times are we gonna say Sarah Green today? Troy Dillard, Charles Hill, Chanel Maxwell, Autumn Chisholm, Darren Goosh, and Liz Anastasiadis. Also, thank you to Allison Huber, the consultant and grant writer who wrote and submitted our successful application. Allison, where are you? As an anchor institution in the city of East Cleveland, we are leading the revitalization of our community, and as an extension to learning with our education partner, the East Cleveland School District. We understand the importance of digital literacy for learning and work skills, creativity, enhancing cognitive skills, multimedia literacy, enhancing communications and collaboration and connectivity, and most importantly, delivering access to accurate information. With East Cleveland Public Library being a school district public library, We will later introduce Dr. Mary Rice, President of the East Cleveland Board of Education. Dr. Rice. Thank you, and I would like to bring up the Executive Director of Public Library Association, Mary Vanier.
Thank you so much, Carlos. And welcome everyone to today's celebration of digital literacy. And just thank you to East Cleveland Public Library for hosting this event, of course, but also deep gratitude to you and your wonderful team from the Public Library Association for all that you do every day for this community. So PLA, Public Library Association, is so pleased to be here at the amazing East Cleveland Public Library with our partners from AT&T. So much of our lives happen online these days, everything from completing homework to applying for jobs and benefits and to keeping connected with family and friends. And the people of this community are fortunate to have a library that offers so many technology-based programs and services. At the library, you can do an incredible amount of things right here. I was walking around earlier and oh my gosh, the print center, you can keep up with your kids' homework online, you can apply for jobs, prep for interviews, you can access desktops and laptops. All of these services here are totally free and they come with expert guidance of library staff. Nowhere else in the East Cleveland community can you find these kinds of services and this kind of expert support. It's free, it's open to everyone. So East Cleveland Public Library is known as the place for digital literacy and digital learning. And that's why I'm here today to recognize that value in this community. So using all of those services takes digital literacy skills, from setting up an email address to navigating web browsers, to using Zoom, figuring out video conferencing platforms, being able to recognize those scams we all get in our inboxes or on our phones, so many other practical things that it can be hard to keep up with because everything is changing. And that's where the Public Library Association and AT&T have come together and partnered to support libraries in building libraries to support people in building these skills with digitallearn.org. So digitallearn.org, you'll see a demonstration of it later. It is a tremendous resource, self-directed courses that build those skills, available in English and Spanish. And PLA has developed 14 new online modules, these in-person courses and workshops that will be associated with them here with this great support from AT&T. And East Cleveland Public Library is one of many communities that have partnered with us for this work. But what I can say is that the opportunity today and some grant funding that went with it is the result of East Cleveland Public Library participating in a competitive national application process. So they knocked that application out of the water, and they're one of only a couple hundred communities all over the country who got this. And right? So hats off to you trustees too, because I know what trustees are doing to support the director and the direction and the vision of this library for its community. So imagine though, with all of those communities step by step across the country, what impact it can have nationally on something we'll talk about, which is the state of the digital divide in our country. So thank you to AT&T for supporting this community level work in narrowing the digital divide, and to East Cleveland Public Library for its commitment to supporting the ongoing digital skilling needs of this community. And thank you all for being here today and recognizing the value of this program. And so I'm going to turn it over to Tony Costanzo from our partner AT&T to also just say a few words. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. So before I get started, I just kind of wanted to bring up that in keeping your prayers, Miss Wanda Davis, who is a partner of AT&T with one of our Connected Learning Centers, had a loss in her family last week. Mr. Purcell Davis passed away. So you folks, we have a great relationship with Wanda and wanted to just keep her in your prayers as she gets through this tough time of losing a loved one. So I want to thank Angela Hill and Anthony King for joining us today and filling in for Wanda. So like I said, just keep her in your prayers, and we appreciate that. Wanda's a great partner of ours, so thank you. So AT&T is proud to have provided support to the Public Library Association to make digital literacy workshops possible here at the East Cleveland Public Library and other libraries across the country. In Northeast Ohio, many of our neighbors are disconnected from valuable online resources, limiting their access to jobs, education, healthcare, and other online services that many of us take for granted. This is what's called the digital divide, the gap between those who can take advantage of the internet has to offer and those who can't. Connectivity is vital in order to participate in today's online world. There are three needs that must be addressed in order to close the digital divide. We need to increase access to connectivity as we continue investing in and expanding our networks. So not just in East Cleveland and surrounding suburbs in Cleveland and across the country. We increase affordability by participating in programs like the Affordable Connectivity Program, or better known as ACP, that gives eligible households a $30 benefit towards their internet costs each month. And that's correct. It's a government-provided benefit that gives you $30 a month that could equal free internet. And when we increase safe adoption of internet use by helping to provide families with the tools they need to take advantage of being connected. And that includes digital literacy workshops like the one that will happen this afternoon. Closing the digital divide can't be done by one group, organization, or company. It takes a collaboration between all of us. AT&T is pleased to count the East Cleveland Public Library and the Public Library Association among our partners in this work. Additional local partners have joined us here today. Travell Harp is the Executive Director of Northeast Ohio Alliance for Hope, or NOAA. They work to unite community groups so we can work together and increase the quality of life in urban neighborhoods. And Wanda Davis, who, as I mentioned, is Executive Director of the Ashbury Senior Computer Community Center, ASA3, they are focused on bridging the digital divide, including through the AT&T Connected Learning Center there that is located on Ashbury Avenue in Cleveland, Ohio, right down the street. We're sorry Wanda, like I mentioned, I'm sorry Wanda couldn't join us today for this event due to her loss in the family, but like I said, thank you, Angela and Anthony, for coming today. So I'd like to thank Travell, Wanda, and Angela for their work and their partnerships, and thanks to all of you who have come to celebrate the digital literacy workshop work being done here today. The purpose of our work at AT&T is to connect people to greater possibility. It's exciting to see the connections being made here today. Thank you. Travell, if you can come on up and say a few words of wisdom. And we got some good stuff for you here today, too.
Thank you so much, Tony. I don't know about all the wisdom and everything. I'll give it my shot. But just on behalf of the community of East Cleveland, just to give a special thanks to the East Cleveland Public Library and the trustees for all the hard work that they've been doing to actually bring these types of programs to East Cleveland. One of the things I noticed just working, I'm an East Cleveland resident. I also do a lot of community organizing within the community. And during the COVID pandemic, there was a lot of slight displacement, which meant that we had to pivot. And I worked with a lot of young people during that time too. And there's a lot of frustration around connectivity because we know that the digital divide that we have here, that we experience and everything, we're getting better at it now, but but having that access to internet and everything and all these different type of ways gives us access to knowledge. So it don't matter where you're at, you can obtain knowledge, you can get instruction on how to do different things. You can explore employment opportunities. You can actually start a business with the internet. It don't matter where you're at. And so that digital divide that we have, we need to erase it. And so just a shout out to East Cleveland Public Library and also to AT&T and Tony and his team for all the work that they're doing to actually erase that divide for us all. And then I'd like to also just say thank you for the community of East Cleveland for just showing out today, because don't you guys look beautiful? And so that's all I have. I don't know if that's words of wisdom, but I just really think that this initiative is so important for us that we need to celebrate it as well as take advantage of it. So without any further ado, I'll just give it back over to.
Thank you to all of our speakers. Next, we are going to have a few words from our East Cleveland School Board President, Dr. Mary Rice. Before she comes up, I have a few names that I need to name off. If you hear your name, you have not received your badge, but you are registered. You need to see Mary to grab your badge, okay? So Dolores Harris, Lee Thomas, Dion Thomas, Crystal Jeter, Marilyn McNeil, Geraldine Ellison, Tania Brown, India Angeline, India Patterson, Jan Ridgway, Robin Swan, Melita Shannon, Vita Saeed, Bernadette Lewis, and Fedor Vaslenko. Thank you.
Thank you very much. If I lay the mic down, can you hear me? Fantastic. That's because I have a cafeteria voice. One of these days I'll tell you why I have a cafeteria voice, but right now I'll just simply say, on behalf of the East Cleveland Public Schools and the 5 board members of the East Cleveland Schools, I just want to say congratulations to a phenomenal director and a phenomenal trustee board for always bringing new, for always bringing new and great programs to the East Cleveland Public Library. Now, when I was a kid, this was digital learning. You know, you have an ink pen and you have paper, but it has gone a long way within my lifetime. If I were to ask you right now, and take computers out of your mind just for a second, what's the most important thing in the East Cleveland community? You're almost there. What is our wealth in the East Cleveland community? What's our wealth? The children, that's right. Our children, that's our wealth. It is important that we work with our children for digital learning. That's where things are going now. I showed you where they were, right? But where they're going, our children need. So we are so thankful to AT&T. We're thankful to the East Cleveland Public Library that you thought enough of our community to bring digital learning to the height that it is within this community. East Cleveland not only serves the children, the school-age children, they serve every single solitary age level, from the very old to the very young. But you know what I need you to know as well? Every economic strata, from those individuals who are homeless even, all the way up to those who own businesses, the East Cleveland Public Library serves them. So we are so very proud of you as trustees, our director, Mr. Carlos Latimer, his staff. This young lady is awesome, by the way. She is. The staff is always amenable to the community, but keep on developing programs and the partnership that we have with the East Cleveland schools. Continue to serve our children and continue to make our children able to compete with any child anywhere. I applaud you and thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rice. Next, we will have a performance by Edward Aziz.
Good evening. I just want to give praise and thanks to God. God for the opportunity and for being here. And most of all, I want to thank Troy and those young people that have motivated me and inspired me to volunteer, to come here and volunteer. She made the key point. The children are our future. I'm here, and I told Troy and I told the people here that anytime they need me, I write poetry, inspiring poetry, but anytime they need me here, anytime that they need me here, I'm here. Not just to do the poetry, but I'll be here to shovel snow, sweep, go up on the roof, and feed the pigeons. I'm here because of the fact that, like she said, you know, those young people inspired me. When I see them multitasking, working with 2 and 3 different people at a time, that inspires me. It inspires me, and I'm overwhelmed with AT&T. And when I looked at the history of AT&T on how they came with Bell South and all the way up to American Telegraph and Telephone, how we say, you come a long way, baby, a long way. And I'm grateful also for that opportunity. Not only that, but to see them here investing in the community and investing in our future and our youth and the East Cleveland Public Library. Believe me. And I want them to know that anytime they need me, as I've mentioned to Troy, that young man inspires me and all those young people that when you walk in that door, even the security personnel, I'm deeply inspired. So I want to thank you, and I thank God for the opportunity. I'm going to start off by reading something, and I'm learning how to get my work done. This is called Why We Fly Our Flag. And it's on the flag, and I read it at a Veterans Day event. And I think it's very key for us and for me and for how I came up. We stand with a commitment to be just, honest, and free, and ready to serve in salvation to humanity. We fly our flag to remind us of the goodness that we have to share. And when we spring into action, God will be there. In memory of those who established a Constitution so godly inspired, with the love for peace that their souls desired. We fly our flag not to intimidate, nor to arouse bitterness or hate. One nation under God fighting to set others free. We fly our flag because we're as proud as can be. We fly our flag for our children to see that men and women have lost their lives so that they can be free. Free to express themselves and challenge the things that are wrong. Men and women with courage, standing up and being strong. We fly our flag in our lifestyle every day by being an example of what a true American is as we go on our way. Sharing and caring, attending to those in need, living its true meaning through our actions and our deeds. We fly our flag because its strength represents hope in a world where some have given up and they just can't cope. Democracy can only work through the people that carry the flame of decency and fairness with God and his merciful name. We fly our flag with our balanced mind because we all have a job to do. So let us all work together, hand in hand, be you Muslim, Christian, or Jew. Thank you. This poem I wrote, I was working, they asked me, there was a Cure Foundation, and it was a group of young women who went to Kenya, and they witnessed the suffering of the children. So they asked me to write a poem for their cover, and it's called The Cure is in Caring. The blue sky is a circle of softness and compassion, while the blue Nile runs pure and free, caring and sharing, reviving the true spirit of humanity. With rivers flowing, spirits are growing, the sunlight is glowing, shining around the world with a genuine concern for people who were tested, now applying what they have learned. Hands reaching around the world, hearts being touched by suffering souls. letting nothing stand in their way of achieving these humanitarian goals. Children left to suffer, eating and living when and wherever they can. Young minds disturbed and confused by something that they don't understand. While the blue sky is a circle of softness and compassion, giving us daylight, this generous gift from God, softness and compassion in a world that has grown cold and hard. While the Nile flows freely, yielding the great benefits to the land, our children are suffering around the world. We must and will do all that we can. There's true benefit in giving. It's found in the gratitude of those who receive, returning the favor to others who also might be relieved. There's happiness and great joy when we help to relieve the pain of hunger and thirst. These are the true signs of the God-loving. On the line, they will be first. Sharing and caring is the true American way. A kinder and gentler nation is what one of our presidents has to say. We will not have true peace until we share with all people the things of good that we desire. True sharing and caring only comes with the spirit that God inspires. When we open up our hearts and extend our hands of human concern, the true expression of those who believe, relieving the pain and suffering from those who have been deceived. Caring and sharing will conquer the ignorance and the corruption that causes so much suffering and pain. As we bring the truth against falsehood, we will knock out its brain. Out of all the suffering in the world, when we all develop a human concern of true love and sharing, then and only then we will have true peace, because the cure is in caring. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, if I have not done so, and I'm sure you've heard my name a lot, my name is Sarah Green. I'm the IT Network Manager here at the East Cleveland Public Library. I would now like to introduce our Fireside Chat panelist and moderator. Our moderator today will be Mr. Troy Dillard, the Digital Navigator for East Cleveland Public Library. Our first panelist will be Mary Davis, founder and PLA Executive Director. Next, we will have Tony Costanzo from AT&T, External Affairs Director. And Mr. Ross Cockfield, longtime resident of East Cleveland and Deputy Physical Officer of East Cleveland Public Library. Welcome our panelists and moderators. I hope you all enjoy. If you have any questions, you can hold them till the end, and if we get a chance, we'll get to them, okay? Thank you.
How's everybody doing? Okay. So I want to thank Sarah. I also want to thank Mary, Tony, and Mr. Ross for joining us today on our topic of the digital divide. My name is Troy Dillard. Most of you know I'm the digital navigator here. I see some of my students. I'm so happy that y'all came. So let's kind of get everybody here informed of what the digital divide is and what we mean by that when we say the digital divide. Start with Mary.
You want us? Yeah, I was going to say, you're going to call on us, or
Yeah, we can just go down the road.
I always go into student mode. Yeah, so the digital divide on a national scale is the gulf, the huge gulf that is between those who have adequate access to the internet and technology to succeed in our world and those who don't. And right now, there are a lot of studies on this, and although 85% of our nation has access to broadband internet, less than half of lower income families in this country have no or slow internet. think about all we do every day with internet. I mean, it is the link to everything. So that is how, at least at the American Library Association and the Public Library Association, we sort of define that issue. It's just as a base.
What about you, Tony?
So I spoke about this a little bit earlier. So what we refer to the digital divide is the gap between those who can fully participate online, digital world, those who can't. So the problems existed pre-pandemic, right? Pandemic magnified it. When everything shut down and there was folks who had to work from home, kids who had to remote learn, you name it, you know, telehealth and all that, people struggled, right? So there weren't devices, people didn't have connectivity, so on and so forth. And then you had, like my parents, and I always talk about this, my dad, like, how the hell is a doctor going to diagnose me through a phone, you know? So,
Right.
he beat me up a little bit on it, and so I had to get my dad a smartphone because he had a flip phone, and you know, things like that were the struggles that magnified the digital divide, right? So it goes back to the three key needs. It's the access, affordability, adoption, but on top of that too, it's the digital literacy and the device part of it. So there's more pieces to the puzzle than just the infrastructure and the underserved or unserved, right? And then there was folks in rural areas who had zero connectivity, right? So, you know, it was a multifaceted issue, right? And it's just like, what do you do to address this? So, you know, we try to, you know, tackle and block or block and tackle some of these issues, right? And you address them as you can, and it takes a team to do that. So, and here we are today, you know, trying to do the digital literacy device part and the ACP to get folks aware of the programs that are out there. So that's how I kind of look at it, Troy.
Digital divide. I'm going to have to kind of give you a little bit of history of myself. I go back to roughly 1989 or late 80s, let's say. I started what was called a BBS. For those of you that don't know what that is, it's a bulletin board system, and it predated the internet. With that BBS, which was simply having a computer in my home, a 1200 baud modem, and giving people access to a telephone number where they could call in, access software, leave messages, receive an email address, that kind of thing. So going that far back, I began to see that there was a need and a real importance for people to have connectivity, to have an understanding of why connectivity is important, and to begin to have a feel for the scope and the magnitude of the possibilities that connectivity can bring. So kind of bringing that forward, we've gone from BBS to digital line services, DSL, internet access, and the problem has only multiplied because the changes are occurring faster than the people can absorb the change. So we're rushing harder, but falling farther back faster. And it's imperative that institutions like the East Cleveland Library take advantage of the opportunities that we have in order to provide services to the public, because they're critical, they're crucial. I mean, you can't overstate how important it is for people to have access. So the digital divide is something that is real. It manifests in how people live, how they don't live, how they can live, and it just makes it that much more important that we do what we do here at the library. So that's kind of it.
Very well said, very well said. So we talked about three core components of the digital divide, okay? So that's the need for access, that's affordability, and that's adoption. And my work in the community, I see the affordability portion great. You know, there's a lot of people who can't even afford the basic necessities in this community. So I want to give people a little bit more information on the Affordable Connectivity Program and how that may be beneficial in their search for closing that divide. Tony?
Yeah, I'll tackle this one first. Troy, thanks. So the ACP was a program that evolved from the EBB program. So we're going to probably throw out a lot of acronyms out here, so we apologize. So EBB was the Emergency Broadband Benefit that first came out when the pandemic hit. So you used to be able to get $50 a month towards your internet bill to pay for internet, and then it evolved into ACP, which is the Affordable Connectivity Program, which is a federal program that helps qualified households pay for connectivity, such as wireless internet plans or internet plans, giving you $30. So it went from $50 to $30 a month that the government renewed. So our elected officials in Washington came together with that plan and rolled it out countrywide. Folks who are eligible, and thanks to my great partners that are here from AAC3 educated me that there is a ACP tracker that you can check to see, and it basically gives you a breakdown in cities that, you know, what the ACP take rate is, right? So there's still, even though ACP has been around for 2 years now, there's still a lot of work to be done. Out of all the, in the Cleveland market, when you zero in on it, it's roughly about 56% of the people who qualify for ACP have registered. So not only is it folks who are 200% below the poverty level, it's also people such as veterans that can qualify for it if you're getting survivor benefits from the VA or you're getting disability benefits from the VA, you qualify for the ACP program. You know, it's been estimated about 1.8 million households in Ohio are eligible, and we're only at 50-some% of those folks who are registered. So we still have some work to do, right? Or, you know, is it a trust issue that people don't have, or is it something that they think is too good to be true? I don't know. Is it a generational gap? Is it folks who, you know, like my parents' age? My dad beat me up about it. Let me tell you, I won't go into that story, but when I presented to him, and my dad's very frugal, he's on Social Security, he's elderly, and basically told me, nah, there's nothing free, it's catch. I'm like, no, Dad, there's no catch, it's for real, and I explained it to him. I always use my parents as an example because they fall in that age group that, you know, doesn't have a computer, wants nothing to do with the internet, and, you know, just trust issues, right? But, you know, weekly stats show on many, you know, how many are enrolled, you know, shows, you know, like I said, Ohio has about 1.1 million households enrolled out of the 1.8 million, so still work to do, so.
And so, you know what, Tony, I think one of the things you sort of mentioned here and for everyone here today, the funding that is available for households for this program is something, you don't need to memorize this today. You don't need to even remember those words. You can go to your folks here at the library and just ask them, how do I get this? How can I get in touch with this? The federal government, you know, is supporting some of this, and the state of Ohio is working on this. Libraries across Ohio are working on affordable solutions for communities. And I know East Cleveland Public Library has been able to use the digital learn resources you're finding out about today to connect folks to these benefits. And, you know, there are also, libraries are right there just trying to meet that need in the community. And sometimes that looks like you go to the library and you can get access to resources, but libraries, public libraries are also there to just say, hey, try to take advantage of this. Just like they do when there's new information about a vaccine, and just like they do when there's new information about, you know, other guidelines that come out from local or state or federal governments. Go see them. They're there for you.
Yes, and since I am the digital navigator, I am here for you, and that is one of my core.
Troy is specifically here for you.
That is
He's
one of
the
my
guy.
core duties, yes. Every month, I sign up people in this community, just like yourselves, to this great thing, and I have people come, hey, Troy, it's gonna be lunch. Can I get you lunch? Hey, Troy, can I do this for you? Can I do this? You saving me this much money a month. I've had problems where I had to work with AT&T because something was wrong or the AC benefit didn't get resolved or it's an issue. And I'm here to save the day, so that's one of my core duties. So if you are around the library or if this is something that you would be interested in, please find me or another tech. And that's what we're here to do. You know, this is why I'm employed here today. So again, going on to the core components, adoption, right? Adoption is another component. And that's exactly why we're here today. You know, the East Cleveland Public Library, the workshops, the classes, are all here to get people adopted to those internet services. And there's a lot of people who need access, right? Today's workshop is based on internet basics. And there's a lot of people who could benefit from that workshop. So I want to talk to the people about what are some other ways that they can go online if they didn't want to come into the library, look at some self-paced courses and some resources about how they can teach themselves at home.
Do you want me to
Mary?
do that one? Okay, well, I'm going to just back up, and I want to shout out to Troy and the work you do. I want to say that digital navigators wasn't even a job. Like, this is how fast things move. That wasn't even a job maybe 6 years ago. You know, this is how fast things are moving. And the fact that you all have Troy and his team members, who I'm sure he keeps on many of the basic things because you can't handle it all yourself, one guy, is just phenomenal for your community. So yeah, there's a lot in the library, but there is, I can tell you that, and you know, to that point, more than a third of public libraries right now have dedicated digital navigators or staff who are going to be there and do that. And more than most libraries also will provide you with access to so many resources that you can just get often with your library card, sometimes not even with your library card, even by starting at the library website. So free audiobooks and access to films, to movies, to all sorts of learning. And the digitallearn.org site that you'll be learning about today, it's all self-paced work, and it's all made possible through the library. But you don't have to come in here to use it. You can use it from home. You can just dig, and you'll be able to later today even just dig into it. But if you are sitting there and just saying, okay, you know, I need to actually figure out how to, how to do a Zoom call where I'm actually controlling what other people say and trying to do a presentation. I know someone who did one of these for their church, and they needed to really, they wanted it to be an effective forum because they were searching for a new pastor. And they went to digitallearn.org, and they figured out how to navigate using Zoom, going over the basic functions, and it just put them in a position where they were able to engage at a level that matched their motivation and their intention. And that is what we want to do, right? We are to be successful. We want to be able to accomplish our goals just on a daily basis to the best of our capability. And that's what those resources are for. And I bet you could talk all day about what folks can access at East Cleveland Public Library without even entering the doors. So I don't want to make many generalizations there, but it is incredible.
I'll let you go, sir.
Well, I think Troy is doing a phenomenal job. I consider myself computer savvy, but certainly understanding that there's always something you can learn. Troy has taught me quite a lot. And so I simply implore everyone to take advantage of this young man, in a good way, Come see him. Please come see him. He's very knowledgeable, very, very willing to help. And if he is overwhelmed, he will certainly bring someone else in on the engagement too, provide you whatever services you need. So He's an asset, he's a valuable asset that the library has, and I simply ask everyone to take advantage of his services.
Yeah, let's have a round of applause for Troy.
Some
Yes.
students in the house, some students in the house.
Troy, you're not in any of those apps where you, no, I'm just kidding. So AT&T Connected Learning is our commitment to help bridge the digital divide for students, caregivers, families through technology, connectivity, educational resources, digital literacy, particularly to those in underserved communities. So we have, AT&T's got 2 connected learning centers here in the Cleveland area, one at the Ashbury Senior Computer Community Center, right down the street on Ashbury, and the other one's on the, we have a west side location at Esperanza on West 25th and Clark. So I have to give a shout out to my 2 folks here from Ashbury, Anthony King and Angela Hill. Anthony is a digital navigator. Put your hands together come on, let's hear it. I have learned a lot from those 2 individuals right there. As you know, they operate our Connecting Learning Center at Ashbury. As you know, we provided in-kind fiber, 15 laptops, Wi-Fi, and it's a place for kids to go get homework help, because during the pandemic, there was, you know, kids who were getting left behind in school, and, you know, from social distancing and trying to get help, it was tough for kids to get tutoring, and Ashbury was there to provide that. So a big kudos and thank you to them, and, you know, and Esperanza as well for providing that. A lot of people didn't know that, and, you know, resources were limited, and they jumped in while, you know, we had to, you know, keep it to about, 6 to 8 students at a time, but, you know, they were there for us, so thank you so much for that. You know, we have a goal to provide, you know, 1 million people in need with digital resources through AT&T Connected Learning Center, Connected Learning by 2025, so across the country, we are launching these centers for kids, not just kids, adults as well. You know, adults wanting to go to the learning centers to learn to use Word or Excel or do a job resume or basically, how to, better fill a job application out. So things like that is what those learning centers are there for. The educational resources we provide include the Achievery, which is a free and safe online learning platform created by AT&T to provide K through 12 students with engaging and entertaining videos paired with educational activities. So hundreds of educational videos and learning activities are currently available for students, parents, and teachers. So subjects include math, science, technology, and engineering, English, language arts, digital arts, social, emotional learning, and digital literacy. You can find all that material at theachievery.com. Now, one little thing, too, that I've been trying to add at our learning centers is esports, so that's kind of starting to take off a little bit, and I always ask about that, believe it or not. Kids can get scholarships to college through esports, which is a sanctioned OSHAA sport in Ohio. So little tidbit for you, so for you parents that always see your kids playing video games, it's not always a bad thing, but I will say they should focus on homework first and then video games. So I always try to enlighten folks with that, and I try to fully support that as well, kids who approach me, and I'm still a kid at heart, even though I'm a little older now, but my kids play on an esports team, and there have been several kids at their school that have gotten scholarships to go to college for free, so you might want to look into that as well, so that's what I have.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Tony, because we in our teen department here, we're starting an adult gaming center, but the teens here, they are so good. So if your kids come here and they say, hey, we're coming up here to play the game, they are good because they're beating me, and I'm not easily to be beat, okay? So, but.
You got one of them in the top row waving at you.
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
Okay. Yes, he is a phenomenal gamer. A lot of them here are. But let's get into people without internet access at home, okay? So, of course, you can always utilize the library. You can utilize me, like they've mentioned. But there's people who want to learn that may not be able to afford internet, may not have the access of internet. So let's get into some of those resources on what can be helpful for them if they don't have internet.
If they don't have it at home, well, the answer is the library. The library can be tremendously helpful. You know, there's a lot of talk right now, I think, about, I mean, Russ was pointing this out, new technology, you know, all the new things that are available. You know, the 3D printers and the virtual reality headsets and all that, but it's not just about new technology, right? I mean, there's some very basic access that folks need. And it's not just if you don't have internet at home, also you may need old technology access too, like a printer, just a regular printer, not even a 3D printer, or copy machines or fax machines. You know, public libraries are one of the few places you can actually access that. And there are also, I think most people these days, most people have one of these devices, right? Have a phone of some sort. But, you know, it can't be the answer to everything. Not everything is optimized that way. So I don't think there is, you know, as I think Tony was saying, there's a massive infrastructure issue both throughout our country in terms of broadband and internet access that exists both geographically, it exists on income levels, it exists in terms of just accessibility in many ways. But the library really does cut through that. And it is also one of the places where if you don't have that at home, your students, your kids, you and your kids can find sort of a level playing field for how to access, you know, the internet and how to access those resources. I know I do have internet at home, and I do have more than one device in my home, and I still get left in the dust from my kids in terms of all the new things. And I take advantage of the public library in my community because even if they're going there to play games, it's a place where I can also go and, you know, find my way to plug in or, you know, maybe really understand a little bit more about what they're up to.
Place for the whole family.
Well, one of the things that I've kind of discovered over my years fooling around with computers is that the terminology, let me just kind of throw this out. If I ask everyone, where is the cloud? What are you going to say? They tell you it's in the cloud. Where is that? What is it? Can you reach and touch it? Do you walk through it? I mean, how does it work? So becoming familiar with computers requires a different kind of way of thinking. It requires that you kind of reorient yourself to a digital format as opposed to something physical. And these are the kinds of things that, again, I'm going to throw this back on Troy, that he's going to help you get a grasp of. And once you're able to get a grasp of these things, then you have to start from a very low level and then kind of work your way up. But I also suggest that you try not to take on too much at one time. The apps that you get on your phone, each of them operates a little bit differently. They're all designed to do something different for you. But if you find one thing that you need to do and master that one thing, you'll find that in mastering that very one small thing, you'll be exposed to all of the other things that interact with that one thing. And then your knowledge is very focused, or your intent is very focused, but as you continue to work, your knowledge will expand. And then you'll say, well, I know how to do this, so let me try this. And then you'll say this. And then you'll find that there's somewhat of a web that develops that you can navigate through that assists you in doing not only one thing, but a multitude of things that are somewhat similar. So I just encourage everyone to take advantage of Troy and Troy's services. come down to the library and use us. That's what we're here for.
And even, I betcha, Russ, I mean, I was just thinking about examples of that. You know, just even figuring out how to make the print display on my phone bigger because of, you know, my eyes, which are getting worse every year. My eye doctor couldn't explain to me how to do that, but I betcha Troy could, and then I would learn how to do all the other things, you know, in my phone as I was going. I mean, when I had to do this, that is what happened. I bet you the folks at your centers could do that too.
Yeah, my kids do that for me.
It's a good wormhole of learning, though, Russ. I hear your point. Yeah.
So Mary brought up a great point that, you know, libraries are great resources. I'll be honest, it's been a minute since I've been in a library, and how they're so up to date and have all the resources is awesome. So to all the libraries that we work with not just East Cleveland and Cuyahoga County and Cleveland, you know, kudos to them for keeping their libraries up to date and all that good stuff. But we've designed, like I said, I spoke about our AT&T Connected Learning Centers that we have. And we designed them to help tackle the digital divide by providing free access to a range of digital resources for students and family all under one roof. So when they can go there, they can get one-stop shop and the help they need, including, you know, our high-speed fiber internet that's in the centers. There's Wi-Fi in there, so if they have our phone and want to update their phones or do anything with that. There's free educational resources, tutoring and mentoring from our navigators and staff out there, along with AT&T employees who volunteer and other community leaders. We also do some, and this is starting to catch some steam in the classroom, STEM projects. So we did build a robot programs at our MBOP stuff, robots at the learning centers. So I like to have fun and get my hands dirty with the kids, not only try to show them how to put them together, but I'll grab one and try to do one myself. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I got schooled by some 8 or 9-year-old kids who had YouTube up, looking how to put these robots together, and here's me still reading the directions. I'm on the 4th piece and they're done and they're working the remote control on these robots. I was like, okay, you can have my robot here. I just gave up. But these kids are pretty savvy when it comes to, you know, having these in the palm of their hands as a quick resource to figure out how to do something. So, you know, you learn something new every day, and here, you know, I'm like, okay, I know I'm getting old now if I got, you know, an 8 or 9-year-old schooling me. But it was actually a proud moment. I took it as a, you know, as a great, you know, learning, you know, experience that these kids are, you know, hip and, you know what some resources are. Well, you know, some are still learning and might not have those resources, can learn there as well. So, you know, in total, like I said, we have 26 connected learning centers nationwide, and proud to have 2 in Cleveland that I launched during the pandemic to try to get resources to family and children that were in need. So very proud of that. I was able to get that accomplished, and still up and running.
Can I ask you a question, Troy?
Go ahead, Mary.
Since we are really digging into Troy's amazing function and that of his peers here. What are the top things that folks come to you for help with? Like kids, adults, what are the top things they want you to help them learn or unravel?
Okay, so outside of forgetting their password, right? Outside of that, more within the digital literacy realm. Although that is the key, right, to get in. Yes. I have a lot of phone issues. That's pretty common. A lot of, hey, how can I access my school? A lot of our students in the community, a lot of our patrons in the community and adults are all in school, so that's a good thing. Common issues, I mean, but they what's simple to me may not be simple to everybody else, and I'm always mindful of that. Okay, so sometimes it'll be as simple as in, you know, my phone is malfunctioning, and I'm popping out their battery, putting it back in, and something as simple as that, or it's something a little bit more complex, like, Troy, I don't know my password, and I get upset, or I shouldn't say upset, but I have to tell people, and we both joke together, like, well, I don't know your password either. But what problems like that have taught me is make simple passwords for people that may not be easily detectable by somebody else around, but that they can remember, okay? And like I tell my students all the time, what happens more to you? Do you forget your password more often, or do you get hacked more often? And although getting hacked is a very serious issue, I want you to remember, I want you to be able to access your courses and your laptops and your phones and your email and stuff that's vital and important.
I love that you share that because that's like all three things rolled into one, right? So if there's all this, everyone's afraid of cybersecurity issues, right? We're all getting scam texts, scam emails, scam everything. And, yes, there's a digitallearn.org module on that, but you're also teaching along the way. I mean, that's the beauty of these workshops at the library, too, what that relevance is like every day. Like you make that password that's, compliant with the best practices in cybersecurity, and you won't end up with that problem. But also, here's how to recognize it. And you do get all those kids and probably adult students, because not everyone has that computer at home. They're coming here because everything in schools is online now. Everything. I mean, I can't remember the last time my kids brought home a textbook. I cannot even relate. I feel like I'm from the 1800s because they don't bring home textbooks. But right, getting connected and keeping that seamless and not such a struggle is important to what you do. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. I'm always curious as to what's really coming over the transom.
Yeah, and like I'm telling everybody now, applications, they're not on paper anymore. You need them online. I make an email account every day. Every time I work, I make several email accounts because people come in and sometimes technology can be scary for them. Sometimes it can be like a foreign language to them. Sometimes it's something that they're not used to, or it's a world that they haven't lived in. And they come in there and they're like, hey, I'm not computer savvy. I'm like, hey, I'm your guy. We make emails. I kind of give them the basics. I offer help additionally to when they leave. Sometimes I have people who have different programs or different government assistance to where they want to follow up with you on email. So not only do you not understand email, but they follow up to you on email. So I have students coming in weekly to come see me like, hey, I need to check my status. Hey, I need to check my status. Again, that's all done here, and that's very common. So if this is a world that's scary to you or you may not understand, please feel free to reach out. There's nothing wrong with asking for help. There's nothing wrong with battling that because technology is here. It's here. And unfortunately, we don't want anyone left behind due to the rapid expansion of it, okay? So that brings me to another thing. So we've talked about the importance of classes and education. We talked about internet access. Let's talk about another important thing, right? Computers, okay? Computers are hundreds and hundreds of dollars, and not a lot of people have that type of money sitting around. There's many families that can't put that into their budget, the finances. So I want to talk about some of the resources that are available for families who can't afford laptops or computers and what they can do about that. Tony.
All right, I'll go first. So AT&T has partnered up with different nonprofits and stakeholders locally here and nationally. And a key part of helping to close the digital divide is making sure students and adults have access to computers to participate, to do, whether it's online schooling, paying bills online, telehealth, etc. So we have partnered up with a local nonprofit computer refurbishing company, a nonprofit by the name of RET3 Job Corps. And what we've done is worked with our connected learning centers and stakeholders to get folks to get to learn digital literacy, and with the help of our navigators. And they have classes like at Ashbury set up several days a week, and whatever they may have afternoon classes or evening classes depending on schedules, schooling or whatnot. And the idea is to get folks in the centers to learn digital literacy. Basically, if they qualify for ACP, like a one-stop shop, and once they get through all that, we partner up and we give them a free laptop to take home so they don't forget what they learned. So, I mean, how many people here have tried paying bills or tried doing something on the phone and it just doesn't work out, right? You need a computer to do it. Yeah, me too. So, so it's good to get folks educated on, you know, the affordability piece when they're there, to making it a one-stop shop and going home to get and have that device to take home for what they learned, you know, from our Connected Learning Centers. And also, you know, we're going to have a event on December 2nd that I wanted to share too. And I have the flyer here that we're going to be giving 500 laptops away. Perfect timing too. The holiday season's right if folks can't afford one. And basically, we'll have up to 500 laptops provided to Clevelanders, East Clevelanders, whoever needs. Coming up, it's just in a couple weeks here, and we're going to do it at the Cleveland Foundation. So you register online. It'll take you to a website. There's some parameters there. So basically, you can't have a working computer in your household and have a K through 12 student in your household. So those will be the top priorities for the first 500, and then it'll trickle down, depending how many folks register, to folks who don't have it that would qualify. So we're partnering up with a nonprofit called CompuDop, and they're helping provide the laptops for that event. So we continue to, you know, find ways in partnerships to do this, to get devices into people's hands. We can't do it alone, and like I said, we've worked with a great stakeholder locally here who's a nonprofit, who's been a great partner, and they refurbish those laptops or desktops from either a municipality, the county, or a hospital system, and we get those back into folks who can't afford devices. I believe
And
we have
that-
some here today too.
That flyer's out front.
Yeah, I have the flyer right over there on the table, and I have one here in my hand, and I'll be more than happy to.
For the December giveaway.
Yes.
Yeah.
It should be, I'll provide them out front as well, so.
Yep, so any of the tech here, including myself, can help you register. You will need to register online, and we can help with that. I want to thank Mary, Tony, and Ross for stepping up here with me today, and just for sharing your knowledge with us and your resources. Tony, is there something?
One last thing, so I'm happy to announce that we do have 50 laptops being provided here today to our workshop participants and others who are in need of a device. So, almost forgot that. That was like the most important thing. I'm not good up front in a public audience, let me tell you. But, so we're addressing that need for adoption with the workshop, and we're, you know, addressing affordability with the ACP, and I think those are the laptops behind me, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Okay, well, that concludes our fireside chat. I'm going to ask Miss Sarah Green to come up. She's going to give us more information on the laptop distribution and our upcoming workshop. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Troy.
Thank you, everyone.
Russ.
Thank you for
Thanks,
coming.
Tony.
Thank you to our panelists. You can either stay up here if you want, or, you know, you can stay up here, that's fine. So what we're going to do, I know this is what you've all been waiting for today. We're going to start our laptop distribution. I'm going to call you by names, and if you can, one by one, you're going to line up starting here when I call your name, okay? Maureen Ashley. Come right on up. Donald Banks. Donald Banks, are you in the building? Come on up. Blanche Buchanan Wilder. Blanche, come on up. Yolanda Gibbs. Yolanda Gibbs, are you in the building? Come on up. J. Reese Jackson. JJ? Oh, there he goes. Veronica James, I saw her earlier. Miss Veronica, did you leave? Chanel, will you check to see if Miss Veronica's in the hallway? Thank you. Donna Jones. Donna Jones. Donna Jones, are you here? Oh, there she goes. Savory Coffee, and I do apologize if I am butchering your names. Okay. Maureen, would you like to go right on ahead? They will take your picture, okay? Yes.